Hi, it's Don the Auction Professor here. I just went to a Craigslist listing that had a bunch of records for sale. I called the gentleman and I met him just a few minutes ago. I literally just got home. It was for 78 records. It's this listing right here. I talked about price-wise and such forth. I was looking to pay $1 a record for the ones I was interested in. I ended up buying all of these, and then this stack, which is just to be trashed, not worth much. 45 bucks for everything. It would have been 50, but I actually didn't have a $10 and I only had 1.5, so I couldn't give the gentleman change for 60. So it worked out better to my benefit to not have a 10 on me. Wasn't my intention, but that's what happened. So a good bonus. So 45 bucks into these. What I found right after I started flipping through the first stack, he had them in 6 stacks, as you see, and then a couple stacks of the albums here. All 78s, all either 12 or 10-inch. These are all 10-inch here. This one was the 4th or 5th one I saw. It's Glenn Miller, In the Mood on Bluebird. Excellent condition. It's an E- at least, or an E. If you're not familiar, records mostly go by V, VG, VG Plus. Those are only for 45s and LPs. 78s go by V, V plus. There's V minus. There's E minus, E, E plus. That's the category range that I usually list in. That's usually what you'll find. Obviously, there's scratched up ones, whatever the case may be. But In the Mood, this record sells for cheapest I ever got, and that was for a bad copy that still played nicely, but it didn't look as good, was $32.50. Last one I sold on Amazon, I sold for $57.50, and it sold within 2 days. Big mover. I sold 32 of these last year alone. This year I have 7 copies already. I found 4 of these in one day, believe it or not. I actually went to a record show. Believe it or not, most people don't mess with these. They don't like sending them to the mail. At the record show, I still only paid $1. Most people are looking for the hot rock, R&B, soul, the classics like that. Not in their field. They don't pay attention to it. They don't know about the site I use. It's not a secret site, but I will discuss it in a separate video. It's an insider secret for a lot of the record dealers, high-end for Northern Soul and for the 78s. Again, Glenn Miller was in this lot. I got quite a few. I already looked them up on my site, or I knew the price, what I was going to get for them. I always write these on there and discard everything else. Limits my space, so everything I hold on to is worth money. May not list it right away. I may not list it for months, but it's going to be worth some money. I'll probably list a couple of these right off the bat and get my money back, so I've got nothing into the rest of them, or I'll just hand them over to somebody to photograph and list for me. As long as I write down the actual condition, that's not a problem. Glenn Miller was a big group of these. I pulled out quite a few. Average price on this stack is probably like 40 some odd bucks a piece. I paid $45. I'm going to list, the actual list price total would be around $1,350, but I would expect to take home, say, $700, $750 out of just this lot here. They won't be quick movers. I'll probably do 3 or 4 in the first day or two, and then they'll staggering from there on out. This morning we sold 4 78s that I mailed out, 1 on Amazon and 3 on eBay. There were ones that were just listed. When I list on eBay, I list on Amazon at the same time. I actually use the same photo. I'll alter it on eBay, and then I'll save a copy of it, down it into a file, and then upload it to Amazon. It's the way I've done it. It works fine. It only takes a few extra moments because I copy the titles and paste them on over. So it's fairly easy. The early labels always sell, such as like the 1930s. These are what would be considered pre-war. It's a Regal label. This is more like a junk label, but some of the performers on them are very good. Every record in here is worth at least 20 bucks. That's what I will get for them. I don't sell 78s that are less than 20. I usually just chunk them. It's not worth it. If I donate them to somebody or I try to hawk them, I'd have to have somebody look them. It's just a nuisance. I don't like selling on Craigslist or locally. It's not worth selling a big bunch of these records in a stack just for packing reasons. It doesn't take very long to pack one single record. I'll show you that in another video. I have not had any of these broken. You can't just send them normally. They're made out of shellac. They will crack very, very, very easily. I am going to show you a close-up of some of the labels and some of the other aspects of the records. so you can kind of get an idea. But again, Glenn Miller, In the Mood, Bluebird, you're going to make money on that. I never pay more than $1. I guess I probably would if I had to for certain records, but stuff like that, I see them everywhere. You'll see them at thrift stores, garage sales, you name it. Craigslist all the time. Antique stores I even go to and find them. I have found them at the record shows, as I said. So if you know what to look for and you know what they're not looking for, the high-time dealers on these, you will get some money out of these. Again, I honestly expect to get $700 plus for what you see here. On Amazon, I usually get more money, but again, the fees, I pay a little more in fees than I would on eBay. We sell, I don't know, probably 100 records a month. They're more high-end records, though. I've sold records as high as $4,300. That was my record last year. It was for a Tommy and the Derbies 45, which is a Northern Soul Classic. It went to England, as most high-dollar 45 soul records do. In Christmas time, we sold Ramona Collins for $3,200. She's a local artist. There was a handful of these records pressed. A lot of this type of item you will not see prices on eBay. So your problem with that for most people is they don't know what to price them. They don't mess with them, or they think it's not worth anything because they didn't see what's selling on eBay. It's just not the case. Most good records, you'll have never heard of the artist, or you've never heard of the label, or they're 78s. I do mess with 78s probably the most lately. 45s I do. They're getting harder to find. My best bet is to buy them in bunches. Sometimes I do go to the Detroit area. I've bought 20,000 45s at one time. In the $1,500 range, I believe I paid with my U-Haul and the whole works into it. I brought 2 employees with me to make it a quick ordeal. Detroit sometimes takes a couple hours to get to from where I'm at, so that's probably the 5th lot I bought last year in 5,000 or more quantity. That's usually where you find your best deal, except you got to be a little careful when you're buying records like that, because sometimes they're jukebox junk, or they're high-end dealers who scoop through them and then just trash the rest out on the market like that. I always question the people before I actually go out to one of these purchases, find out the source of the records, find out what they've done, how picked through they were. Again, like 78s, I don't worry as much. Most people just pick out the obvious. I pick out the ones that everybody walks by. I see them everywhere. Sabres closed down here, both of them, so I don't really have a Sabres to go to, but I do find a few at Goodwill. Sometimes the online auctions for the Goodwill here, there's several Goodwills. We'll have them out there too. You can go out and look at them sometimes prior to the sale. So sometimes I'll buy them there. I'm not having any competition, so it's a good thing, but 78 records. I'm going to show you some close-ups in just a few moments. So here's some close-ups of the records that I got today. Ash Recordings, first one. I'm not going to go over every detail of each one. We'll just kind of touch the basics here. Pay attention, this label does show up quite often. The name, again, I wasn't familiar with. It's a good bop name. It's got Boogie literally on the title. That's what you want to look for on some of these. Once you get to know the labels a little better, you're going to be able to pick up the ones really quick. But this one I'll probably get $15-20 minimum. As again, I've written down the prices so I know where I'm at. Willie Smith Quintet. Keynote's not a huge brand, but this particular one, I've seen this one before. I've actually had one. It was broken, so I couldn't sell it, so I did know the value on it. I'll probably get around $45. I'll put $57.50. Now these are a different story. The Regal labels, you can see the date. It's actually from 1921. Lannon's Southern Serenaders. Lannon's orchestra isn't very popular, but most of the time it's just his orchestra. This is a little different. This is an earlier record from him. These, again, $1 or less you should see these for. I'll probably get $50 for this one. Here's some more Bluebird. This is in the $27.50 range. I would probably get that. Here's another Glenn Miller. Running Wild. This is another $27.50. I'll probably get at least 20. Here's a close-up of the In the Mood. This one you will see. If you look at enough records, I would guarantee you're going to see one the first month if this is what you're looking for. Again, this is going to get you at least $40 profit. If it's a mint primo copy of it, you could get 75 bucks. You may not be able to get on Amazon right away because you will have to get on gated. It's not that hard. You just have to type up a lot of stuff and bug the heck out of these people. That's what it took for me. It worked. It got me in, and I was able to transfer all my listings of records from eBay to Amazon. I paid 2 employees to do it. They did nothing but that for a couple of days and got them all up. So that worked out great. In the mood. Back's all the same. I want to be happy. So if you see that side or whichever side it is, grab this record. Big profit. Again, $57.50 on this Glenn Miller. Glenn Miller again. Vocal Lion, I do not see very many of Glenn Miller on this label. There are some that are worth a ton of money on this label. So just pay attention to them. Here's an early Ash. 20 bucks I should get out of that one. Here's an early pre-war. I have not seen this label before. I believe it is related to Duke University. Again, you saw the price. I should get $57.50 on this. Putting it on Amazon might be a little longer and a little less on eBay, but again, the fees do equal out, so that's a good thing. Blues, early blues and jazz groups. Original Memphis 5. This is a good one. You should get a good profit off of this. I will probably get 40 bucks for this, maybe a little more. I'm going to put $57.50. Duke Ellington. Now, most of his records are not worth much money, but I have had 3 or 4 of this one. C-Jam Blues. This one I should get at least 34. I'm putting $37.50. I always put items up on Amazon, though, for at least 20, 25, even 30% more than I do on eBay, and I usually get it. Everybody knows who sells, you know, FBA and such forth. You get it. I would never FBA records, of course, but I will get good money out of this on Amazon. Here's another early one. Wilbur Sweetman's, he's not huge, but Slide Kelly Slide is it's a classic dancer hit. Even with the rim chip right there, I will still get, say, 25 bucks on this one. I'm going to put $34.50. The rim chip does not touch the tracks. It is common. You will see these. You'll see flea bites, the whole works. I don't worry about that as much. Depends on the record, obviously. If it's something that only sells for 20, that's fine. The Slide Kelly Slide, I will probably get 100 if it's better. Another one, Aladdin. This is actually a Hollywood label. Illinois Jaquette. Some of her records or his records are good. They sell a lot. This one I'll probably get right on 20 bucks. I changed my mind after I saw and looked this one up. Sam Price, Do You Dig My Jive? Blues Dance. Jive and a record usually sells it. I grew up on Abbott and Costello on Sunday mornings. There wasn't cable. We didn't have satellite, obviously, back then. Abbott and Costello played. I was young, 7, 8, when those were still on TV, and the Andrews Sisters came on. I learned what the music was somewhat from there. In fact, if you find Beat Me Daddy, 8 to the Bar, or Bugle or Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy by Andrews Sisters, you can expect to get probably 50 to 75 bucks for each of those. I have one. I'm hoping to find another one tonight. These are all boogie records. I'm going to at the next one. Here's an Apollo label. They usually carried more ethnic related items, Italian, jazz, blues, soul music. Again, that's what this is. I should get 20 bucks for that one. Now here is a special one. This is called a Scroll Victor label. The label itself is called Scroll because of the scroll. This is from, say, 1918 to 1920. It's a very good label to get. Clarinet Marmalade, it's a good hit. Original Dixieland 5. Scarce item. They don't sell very often. I'm going to put 95 on it, maybe 125 on Amazon. I should sell this one for at least 75 bucks. Commodore, this one's not a huge high-priced one. Kansas City 6, I got Rhythm. It's a classic. It's by an oddball group, 20 bucks. Kansas City 6, another 20 bucks. Here's another good one, Duke Ellington. It's not a huge high-dollar item, but I'll sell this one pretty quick. I should get 20 bucks. I'll put $22.50, make it a quick move, might get the $22.50. Savoy. Here's a shaker. It's a dance classic, Kirby Fields, $27.50. I should probably get at least 20 for it. Here's one I put a little lower. It's Lester Young. It'll sell quick, $14.99. I will put it with no offers on it, so they'll have to buy it at that price. Another Commodore. This one I'll probably get around 40 bucks for. Here's an early Decca from the 30s and 40s, Boogie Woogie Stomp. Albert Almond's good for most part. They don't all sell. Most of them do, though. The Boogie Woogie Stomp, though, I've had before. If it says Hot Dance on the record, usually it's a pretty decent one to look at. I'll probably get 25 bucks, maybe even up to the $34.50 that I've listed on it. Dark Ice Ski, I'll probably get about 20 bucks for this one. Not a huge high dollar item. Another Savoy. Uncle Sam Blues, I'll probably sell this one fairly quick. It's a World War II era. Uncle Sam's involved, so I would say I'd probably get $27.50 maybe at max right off the bat. Quick seller. Another Commodore, $20. Wild Bill Davison. Now here's an early one. Early Brunswick. This is actually a re-release of the original. The original is worth, oh Jesus, I believe this is from an OK original, or Vocalion. The original is probably $175. This one here I should easily snag 20, 24 bucks. You can see the price I put on this one. Another good one, Dixieland Jazz Band. The original Dixieland Jazz Band label used to have jazz, spelled J-A-S-S. They changed it because too many people were crossing out the J and putting the word ass. That's actually true from all records. I took jazz history in college. That was one of the things they actually brought up, which I thought was very interesting. I should easily get 50 bucks on this one. Red Bank Stomp. Joe Brown's not huge. This is pre-war. I'll probably get about, say, 20 bucks or so. This one here, I actually think I'm selling these two together. I think. Yeah, these are Duke Ellington related. These are members of his ensemble. It even says right there on there that the unit is part of his, I don't remember which department of his band they played in. But anything with Ellington on it usually sells. I'm selling the 3 of these together for $45. It should be a quick move. All Bluebird, all the same grouping. Blue Note. If you're not familiar with records, Blue Note is the one label for jazz you should always know. LPs and jazz from Blue Note, some of them sell for $4,000 or $5,000. These are just 78s. They, just one song on each side. I actually got 4 of them. I wrote down 3 and actually realized I miscounted, so there's actually 4 of them. I'll probably get, say, 45 to 50 bucks for these. Again, the total for this whole lot I got, my asking original price is going to be around $1,350, but I honestly expect to get at least $700 for these for my $400 or $45 investment. This is typical. This is the range I get for these. You'll see them yourself. The booklets that they have, the same thing. 20 bucks on this one, Benny Goodman. These are reissues for the most part. This is a reissue label, collector's edition. Comes in the binder. This is what an LP was back then. Could only carry one song on each side. That's why 45s were revolutionary and LPs were even better. And that's why you actually see LPs originally were only 10 inches instead of the 12 inches you see your records these days. Here's a good one. I should get 45 for this one right off the bat. Fairly scarce one. Nice artwork. This one's better than most because it actually has the booklet. Booklet's always good to have. I sell just these booklets for 5 to 10 bucks. I've sold some for 15 and 20, so it's a steal on this one. One thing you always want to look for in records like this is autographs. I always find autographs almost every time I look for huge lots. There'll be 1 or 2 sitting here somewhere. I'm going to look at a huge 45 lot. It's from a gentleman who I've personally got autographs from. In 2 more weeks, I'm actually going to see him. Hopefully I'll get something good out of there. But this guy was a exhibitioner. He did the tours and he provided free sample records to radio stations. And a lot of the times he had autographs in there. He's getting older. I've known him for a long time and I get a good deal on him. So I've walked away with some good autographs from this guy. But that's pretty much what I got out of this lot. One last folder. And this one I should get around 30 bucks for. So again, it's got this with it. I might get a little more because it's got the booklet. Usually the records lose the booklet and they're not able to find them. So I always buy stacks of the books when I find them. I do find those in bookstores or piles of junk or in attics or wherever you can find them. But again, these are all good records to get. I'll have some more videos on 78s. 78s sell very well, sometimes quick, as I said, but I have some that I've held on to for a long time. Not a problem. I run my eBay store literally like a store, like I have merchandise all in it. Got 30,000 active items, so and I constantly add. Our goal is to at least gain 500 items a month above and beyond what we sell, and then to go from there. So I appreciate it. Please subscribe below and look out for more videos. Again, I'll be posting at least 2 or 3 a week from here on out. So enjoy. Thank you.